This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. Bumper to Bumper, helping you and your car feel better. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, and next to me is Matt Allen. And we are your KTR car guys, heard every Saturday from 11 to noon right here on News Talk 92.3. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we are helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you've got car questions, we've got answers, so we encourage you to give us a call, and give us a call early at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also get a hold of us by texting us at 411-923. Today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, the email of the week, we're going to be taking some open phones. So if you've got car questions, give us a call. In the 100,000-mile auto repairs, what should you expect? It never fails. I'm talking to somebody at like 130, 140,000 miles, and they're in my shop needing a transmission repair, and they say, I can't believe it needs a transmission repair, Dave. I mean, I haven't had to do anything to that car for like 10 years. It's been fantastic. It's been perfect. I mean, really?
Well, that's kind of when you want them to say, you ever say something, then after you say it, you go, It's like at work, or tease the guys once in a while. They have the microwave going, they make their soup or their lunch, and the thing's steaming, and they go, that's hot. Yeah, you just took it out of the microwave. Of course it's hot. Just, so when you say that, gee, Dave, I've never, how could I possibly need anything? I've never had to do anything to that car.
130,000, I've never done anything.
Think about that for a minute. Yeah, you didn't, because everything was perfect when you bought that car brand new, and we've used it up a little bit. And so it goes without saying, 130,000 miles, you should be going, wow, I expected that because I planned for it. Let's take care of it because I'm prepared.
Well, that's the thing. We're trying to create the right expectations for auto repair. Don't be shocked if you have to do auto repairs at 100,000 miles. Don't be surprised. It's part of the deal. And as a matter of fact, if you're doing the math right, you should, and you say, hey, I'm going to buy this car. I'm going to drive it to 200,000 miles. Well, you need to save about $3,000, $5,000 up, because anywhere between 80,000 miles and 130,000 miles, there's some stuff that's going to happen. Don't be surprised if you got to buy a fuel pump. And I wrote a couple of the popular ones down.
Well, but let me interrupt for a second. We're of course, throughout that first 80,000 miles, you're going to have the normal stuff. Your oil changes, your transmission service, maybe a differential service depending on the car. Cabin air filters. That's not what we're talking. The normal to be expected that everybody thinks of as maintenance, we're not talking about. We're talking about the things that wear out in that. These are repairs that really you should be able to plan for, because they happen pretty repetitive throughout. A Suburban's the same. Is typically the same. An Accord or a Camry, they're going to have their style of repairs. So these are maintenance, but they're not just common maintenance.
Well, and we want you to be proactive about auto repair as opposed to reactive. And, oh, man, I can't believe I'm having to spend this money. So you need to budget for this, and I'm just going to say the number right here is $5,000. So between 80,000 miles and 130,000 miles, you're going to spend $5,000.
Maybe.
Now, we can influence that number. We can influence that number by what we do leading up to 80,000 miles. Do we do all the services? When the guy comes up to you and he goes, you really need this fuel injection service. And I'm not talking about the quickie car wash type of thing. But, hey, we see a lot of carbon on these. Let's go ahead and do a fuel injection service. It's going to save you money down the road. We can influence that number. And if you can avoid all the things that happen at that 100,000-mile mark, great. So you got to take care of your car ahead of time. And back to the point, 100,000 miles, I haven't had to do anything to this car.
Well, and part of that, Dave, is the manufacturers market these cars and to some degree design them to 100,000 miles. We, in the late 90s, we came out with 100,000-mile coolant. Now there's 100,000-mile or lifetime transmission fluid. There's 100,000-mile spark plugs. So the consumers have been trained almost to ignore their car till it hits 100,000 miles And then you've got to pick yourself off the floor when someone actually tells you the truth about your car.
It's got to be fixed. Well, I noted some of the popular ones that happen in that little niche of time. Motor mounts. You know, motor mounts are made of rubber. They're designed to wear out. They're no different than your tires. You're going to need a set of motor mounts. I threw those in there. Timing belt. A lot of these cars have a 90 or 100,000 mile service. It's kind of a big ticket item. You know, somebody like Volkswagen, you may need to do a timing belt at 100,000 miles, which you got to take the radiator out to do. So the next one I'm going to talk about is the radiator. Radiators tend to last 10 years, 100,000 miles. A lot of these things start to pile up right at that time. We see fuel pumps go out, not always. You know, you're that kind of person that runs your gas tank low on gas all the time where it's just...
You're looking at me kind of funny there, Dave.
Right there at the end. My actual yellow light on my empty actually burn out. It no longer works because I drive around with that yellow light on. Water pumps like to go bad or just wear out. Shocks and struts. And these are normal things, so you're not shocked when you go to the auto repair and they go, hey, you know, Mr. Dan driving that fancy Lincoln, I'm picking on my friend who's sitting here. You know, your spark plugs need to be changed. 80,000 miles. I know they say they're due at 100,000 miles, but we got to pull them now before they get stuck in the heads. And it's going to cost you a chunk of change, you know? So don't be surprised when you got to go in and get those repairs. You should be budgeting for it ahead of time. And if this is a vehicle you do want to keep for 100 or 200,000 miles, you know, set aside that money and know it's coming, and you're going to spend $5,000, but you're going to get a whole nother 100,000 miles worth of use out of that car.
And you say you're going to spend $5,000, you may not, because like you said when we started, Dave, depending on how you take care of the car leading up to it. And then when you get in that range, we can do certain repairs that we can defer. We can wait and help group them together, or we might do something a little bit early. For example, front-wheel drive, let's just pick any import car. It doesn't matter what you're driving. You have to take the motor mount off to do the timing belt. So if we see that mount at 75 or 80, 90,000 miles is starting to get a little sloppy, we might just say, you know what? It's not going to leave you broken down. We'll get that in 10,000 miles when we do the timing belt. You're going to save the labor, and we can help you be more economical with your car. One example we talked about, Dave, was a Toyota 4Runner, for example. When we do the timing belt on those, we take the radiator out of the car because it's more convenient for us. Now you're doing that time belt. Maybe it's the second time around. Maybe you've got 160,000 miles on the car this time, and you've never replaced the radiator. You have to start to wonder, this is proactive auto repair now. Gee, I've got 10, 12, 13 years out of this plastic radiator. I've already got the one out. Let's just throw one in for a couple $100 more. And now you've made that good repair a great repair because you're thinking to that 200,000 or
grouping them together.
Yes.
Grouping them together.
Economies of scale, if you will, because the labor's free.
Well, I think of a Honda Odyssey. You know, you're going to do a timing belt. You know, I see the dealers pushing them up at 60. I see some independent shops selling them at 100,000 miles. We're at 100,000 miles. You know, the radiator's 10 years old. You know, the water pump is something we should be considering at that time.
Oh, absolutely.
Belt tensioners, timing belt tensioners, all that stuff. Well, let's do the radiator now. Let's do the thermostat now. Let's do the water pump now. Let's do that all at the same time, because if you're going to keep that car to 200,000 miles, I can guarantee you that's going to happen.
Well, yeah.
Why not do it now? You save the bucks.
Yeah, you get to choose when you're doing it so that you're not having Murphy's Law make the decision for you on the side of the 51 or the side of the I-10 with that broken radiator. Now, I mean, you never know when an alternator is going to go bad. You never know when something can always happen, but we can certainly help keep you on the road and keep the car. The whole idea is to keep the car in great shape, keep it reliable, and help it maintain its value.
Well, I built a tool because I'm so regularly counseling people through this decision, because they got cars with 130,000 miles. They're at Tri-City Transmission. I don't have any good news for them. They need to spend $3,500. It's just the way it is. And they say, gosh, Dave, should I spend $3,500 on this car? So I put at tricitytransmission.com on the bottom right, there's a repair or replace calculator. And it's literally a self-interview. So it takes you through, hey, do you feel embarrassed when you drive this car? I mean, because that's a reality. You know, do you feel embarrassed, or should we get another car? Does it serve the needs you have? Is it a two-door convertible and now you have 3 kids? Why do we need this car? Let's go get a different car. Things like that. And then there's actually a spreadsheet in there where you can look at all the prospective possible repairs that are coming up. You know, hey, does it need batteries? Is it going to need brakes? Has it had this done? Has it had that done? And you can kind of calculate that in your mind. But what I see people do is they'll take a $2,500 problem, and they'll fix it with $35,000. And that's just not. I mean, the Dave Ramsey math of it says, "Hey, let's keep driving this car. It's cheaper to drive this one." And it literally breaks it down to cost per mile. Do I want to drive a car that costs me $3 a mile, or do I want to drive a car that costs me 15 cents a mile? If you look at it that way, it's going to make sense to fix the old car.
Yeah, I'll opt for the cheaper one, and especially if you're going to buy a used car. I always say the best used car to buy is your own car. Take that used car that you've got and fix that, because the used car market is very strong right now, and it has been for years. And you go out to buy another used car. I always tell people, if you're shopping, it doesn't matter if you're buying a $15,000 car or a $5,000 car. Nobody goes and does everything to that car and makes it perfect and says, "Gee, I guess I'll sell it." They're usually selling it because there's something wrong with it that they don't want to fix, and you're going to inherit that problem.
602-277-5827, 602-277-KTR. You're listening to Matt and Dave on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Good morning and welcome back again to Bumper to Bumper Radio. I'm Matt Allen. He's Dave Riccio. And as always, we're here every Saturday at 11 helping you with your car. So if you have a question or a problem or just want to talk to us, I guess you can give us a call, 602-277-5827. You can participate by text at 411-923. And our topic today is really, should I repair my car or should I replace my car? It's a tough question, but you can influence that answer and maybe not even have to ask yourself that question if you plan,
took care of your
budget, you're proactive, and you keep that car. I mean, you're making money. If you've got a car that is over 10 years old or 100,000 miles that you've taken care of, you are making money on that car because you are not spending money on a payment every month. The last thing you need, I don't want a car payment. I mean, no, I'm going to take care of the car.
I sleep better at night when I don't have payment books in front of me. Hey, I got to take this text because this is totally self-serving. But this guy has a 2006 Honda Element, and he's asking, he wants to replace the wheels. Should he get steel wheels or alloy wheels? And hey, I'm going to favor alloy wheels. Why? Because they're less weight. Cars handle better with less unsprung weight. So that weight is below the spring, so I'm always going to favor the alloy wheels. Not only that, I happen to switch the wheels on my Element, and I have the old factory alloy wheels for sale. So if you want to get a hold of us, bumpertobumperradio.com, the contact link, and make a smoking deal on some alloy wheels for your Element.
Ooh. Is your Element cooler now, Dave, that you took the factory?
I put some 18-inch alloy wheels on it. A little shorter, little better handling. Yeah. But when I get to 100,000 miles, I'm going to have huge repair bills because every time the light is green, full throttle. Every time the light is red, I'm going to go as full brakes, and so I'm going to need motor mounts probably by 70,000 miles, maybe 60.
So what are those things that we, besides those normal repairs, the things that creep up where you get you ignore the car till 100,000, then kabammo? What do we have?
What are those things?
Some of those things. Motor mounts are one that you're going to spend $1,200, $1,000
on some of these cars. You definitely will spend that kind of money. Motor mounts is something you don't want to ignore, and those are one of those repairs. If you're a person that's just barely giving the car what it needs when something's like broken and falling off, and you're down at Virginia Auto Service and Matt says, "Hey, you're gonna need a set of mounts," and you go, I don't really have the money for that right now, and I get that. That's a reality, but we got a budget for it.
Wait, do I have the money? $9 Starbucks they're sipping, smoking a cigarette. They got their Marlboro and their coffee. Got $25 a day worth of garbage, but they can't fix their car.
Get off your box. But you're having that conversation while you ignore the bad motor mounts. What's happening with the bad motor mounts is the engine is flopping around in there. I mean, it's not going to pop out by any means. They're not designed that way. But there's a lot of movement that's stretching all your radiator hoses, stretching out all your electrical harnesses.
Rattling the dash.
By ignoring repairs and putting them off as long as you can, you do more damage. That's why we want to budget for repairs ahead of time so when they do come up, we're not surprised and we're not like, oh, man, I spent my last money on my Starbucks coffee for the last 3 years.
And my smokes.
So I'm going to go with Mike in Mesa on a 2000 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Looks like it has a 3.8 liter. Go ahead, Mike. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Good morning, Matt and Dave. Thanks for taking my call. This just happened yesterday. We drove the car about 70 miles, and then we started getting a whirring noise, like a turbine noise that I've never heard before, and it would intensify with increased road speed, and it would reduce with reduced road speed. RPM didn't seem to bother it. Now, the weird thing is we parked the car for a couple hours, had to go to the clinic, and then drove away, and it was fine after a 2-hour cool-off. I was kind of thinking maybe a wheel bearing, but I thought I'd ask you guys.
It's all ball bearings nowadays.
You blew out my ears there, Dave. Well, I was going to say ball bearings. I was going to say, I think wheel bearings originally, but the cool-down
doesn't make sense.
Didn't make sense. But one of the ways that you can tell maybe it's a wheel bearing, just do some light swerving. Make sure there's nobody on the road, or you're in an open parking lot or a wide enough street where you can be going 10 or 15 miles an hour, and just lazy steer to the left and a lazy one to the right. And if that tone changes when you're doing that, that's a good indication it's a wheel bearing. So if you're swerving or steering slightly to the right, you're loading the left. So if that noise gets worse, you're going to start thinking of a left side wheel bearing, because you're putting more strain there. Anything else, Dave, that you would think of?
When he first started talking, he said it wasn't affected by RPM, but I thought maybe he had a transmission issue, because on that particular car, when that thing's been driving for a long time, and it sets a torque converter code, and that's common, for some of these cars with some miles on them. It will ramp up the pressure in the pump, and you'll get a pump whine. But he said it wasn't affected by engine RPM, so I kind of canceled out that idea, and then the wheel bearing came up.
But I'll tell you what, if you were standing across the counter from me at my shop, that's good information. You gave us good details. But, Mike, I think really what's going to happen is that needs to go get a test drive. We see you're in Mesa. One of the bumper-to-bumper shops maybe in your neighborhood is Mesa Auto Works. Look them up. You can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com, and there's some other guys in Mesa, too, that can help you. But somebody's really just going to need to test drive that.
We're going to sneak in John in Phoenix on a 2008 Chevrolet Cobalt. Go ahead, John. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, I've got a question. I've got some rattling in my steering wheel, and I was told by a mechanic that it may be a wheel out of balance, or maybe I threw a wheel weight. What do you guys think?
When you say rattling, is the steering wheel kind of jiggling back and forth a little bit when you're driving it?
Correct, yes.
Is there a noise? A rattle I typically think of as a noise. So is it a vibration and a feeling, or a noise?
It's vibration.
Okay. I'm thinking right along with you, Dave. I mean, if you're going 10 or 15 miles an hour, even very slow, 5 miles an hour, and you have a wobble, we would think your tire has what we would refer to as an egg in the tire. It's got one of the belts separated. It's got just an egg. So at very low speeds, you get this very strange wobble. But then at higher speeds, 45, Dave, then you get that vibration that you can drive through maybe.
Right, and it may just be for just a range. You may say, hey, at 55 to 58 miles an hour, I feel that little shimmy. But as I go a little faster, it goes away. A lot of times that is a tire vibration, and that's typical. Hey, and that's one thing people like to confuse is tire vibrations and wheel alignment. Two totally different things. People come in and say, I just had everything aligned down at Discount Tire. No, you didn't. They balanced your tires, but they didn't align anything.
Or they come in and say, I have this, I want to get an alignment. So we start doing that 20 questions where we need to know information. Why do you need alignment? Oh, I've got this shake when I'm going 55 miles an hour. Be careful what you ask for, because you may end up with alignment, and then they'll balance the tires too to fix it. So
that's why you always want to describe your symptom, and don't come in saying, hey, I need this. Because when you say, hey, I need this, you're going to get a repair. And we were talking about last week, the most expensive repair is the one you didn't need in the first place. So yeah, they're going to go in, you say, I want an alignment, they're going to align it, whether you need it or not, because you think you do. But you need a tire balance because you got a little shimmy. So when we come back, we've got Chad, Sergio, John, and Mick, 602-277-5827. You're listening to Matt and Dave on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, and he is Matt Allen, and we are here to help you with your car. We are self-proclaimed experts. Being a little facetious, we do love auto repair, and we are very up-to-date. At least we think so.
Hey, I'm an ASE certified master technician. I I know my way around, Dave.
You
can handle that, yeah.
Well, I'm only ASE certified in transmissions. Yeah, manual and automatic.
We'll work on that for you, Dave.
We'll work on that. But I would be positive if I went down, I could probably pass all those tests.
I know you can pass them, and it's not so much that you're ASE certified or you're not, but you know what you're talking about. You understand real world. You've been in this environment as well as I have, and we know cars, and we know common sense, and we know how to take care of people, and that's really the key.
Definitely the key. So some people have certifications, but they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's true. That might be your case. I don't know. Well, I'm looking at some of these texts, and we got a whole gang load of texts. And the first one right on the top, I have a 2002 Nissan Pathfinder with 150,000 miles. Should I be changing the timing belt? Or I'm going to change the timing belt. What else should I change at that time? I guess I read it a little wrong. But he is on the right path, and we almost talked about timing belts today.
This is going to go down a different road that we weren't planning on talking about, but it's going to take us there, so I'm going to talk about it when you're done.
I had a friend that actually used to work at Tri-City. She was our bookkeeper. She had a 2001 Pathfinder, and she was at that 160,000-mile mark, and her timing belt broke. So for people that are listening, you don't want a broken timing belt. It's very expensive. And she ended up, that's what we call a valve crasher. So she ended up having to get another engine. She had it done at Arizona Imports. He did a great job for her. He ended up installing a low-mileage used engine for her. But he's doing the timing belt. What else should he expect? What is on the front of that motor, Matt?
Well, and this is where you've got to. There's two things here. You've got to be careful of that lost leader coupon, $4.99 for the timing belt. But they don't tell you the rest of the story. That's just the timing belt. So this is a perfect answer or question. You always want to ask that up front. What else am I going to do with that timing belt? Well, behind those timing belt covers on that Nissan, you have a timing belt tensioner more likely. You've got at least one, maybe two idlers. You've got the water pump. Now, 150,000, you're either 30,000 miles late or 40,000 miles late, or you're a little bit early. It's hard to tell. That's kind of an odd mileage, depending on when you did the first one. If you've never done one, yeah, go right now. But the water pump is behind there. It's all the same labor to replace that water pump as it is to do the timing belt. So we're going to do the water pump when we're doing the timing belt. On that particular Nissan, the thermostat is a nightmare to get to. You've got to take the hoses off, do the upper and lower radiator hose. There's a bypass hose that always breaks on there and squirts water right into the distributor. You want to do that. And so this timing belt job on this car, you can't really think of it as just the timing belt. It's like a Coke or a Pepsi. It's a timing belt, but there's so much more that goes with it to make that. I guess I would call it a engine maintenance or something. But the second part of that, I've seen this, I've heard of it, and it bothers me is we're going to let you take advantage of those what I call economies of scale. We're in there. You get to take advantage of that little bit of labor extra to do the water pump now versus not doing it later. But I've heard of some shops that national chains, people that provide road service, all these different shops, and they don't give you that benefit. They write up the timing belt, full price, 4 hours. Water pump, that's 4.5 hours. Upper and lower hose, 6/10, 7/10, thermostat. Now, they've just padded that thing so big, they didn't give you any of that advantage of your economies of scale there. We've got the old hoses off. Why are we charging you, or why are they charging you to put new ones on? Doesn't make sense.
You're talking about time. Most auto shops use a time for a job as a reference. So, in a lot of shops charge by the hour. So, when you see it's this much money to go do the timing belt, well, there should be just a little bit of extra labor to do the water pump because it is right there. But some shops will charge you full price to do the timing belt, full labor, that 4 hours that you just said, and then they'll charge you 3.7 hours to do the water pump on top. Which, I guess that's their prerogative, but you should really, is there any labor? That's a good question. Is there any labor savings to do it at the same time? So as a consumer, great question.
Well, those people are at the sleep center trying to figure out how to sleep well at night, and the sleep center can't prescribe anything because it's not apnea, it's being crooked. That's why they can't sleep.
Being crooked. And the other people can't sleep are the people with a new car payment. So replace that old car. So that's a great question. We are going to go with Alvin in Surprise on a 1998 Mercedes. Go ahead, Alvin. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi. got a transmission problem where when I come to a stop, it will come out of gear, and then it'll quickly go back in. And, of course, if you come to a stop quick and give it gas, then it slams, which is not good. So, obviously, I'd never try to do that.
Dave knows it right there, but it sounds like you have one more question.
And I know it's one of those that they said it's a sealed system, never supposed to be changed, stuff like that. But I did buy a dipstick for it, which it doesn't come with it. I checked it, and it was a little bit low. I did add the fluid, but it still does the same thing. And I have not changed the transmission filter on it. I'm just curious if this is a common thing or just your ideas on it.
Well, the first thing, and I don't know if we're checking the fluid right. I know in those Mercedes, they don't give you a dipstick. You got to go buy the stupid thing for $80, which is, to me, is just, I mean, are they saving a bunch of money on thousands of cars? I guess they are. They really don't want the average consumer checking fluid. So they take the dipstick away. The first thing when you said it, I figured it was low on fluid, because if you picture, let's just say you put a fish tank in the back seat of your car, and you come up to a stop, well, all the water in that fish tank is going to go to the front of the fish tank. And as soon as you give it gas, it's going to slosh to the back of the fish tank. The same thing is happening in your transmission pan where all the oil is, and that's where the filter picks up the fluid into the pump. So when you come to a stop and it goes into neutral, what's happened is that the filter has taken a gulp of air, and the transmission is not making any pressure. And if you get right back into it, it'll engage hard and abrupt, and it never feels good. So I am still thinking low fluid. The other thing I'm thinking is that possibly maybe have the right amount of fluid in it, but possibly we have an O-ring where the filter connects to the bottom of the pump. That O-ring could be bad, so you might have the right level in it. So what I would recommend doing, if it was me, is I would overfill the transmission by 2 quarts just to eliminate that problem. It sounds like you're going to need a service anyway because it hasn't been done. You can get that fluid back out later. But if you put 2 quarts in it and the problem disappears, then we've got a level issue or a filter problem.
But the important thing, Dave, and for Alvin, putting 2 quarts in and making the symptom go away did not fix it.
Didn't fix it.
That is a test. That's what we do in the shop to figure it out. I don't know, Dave, can you damage the transmission by overfilling it? Or I guess maybe you might make it start leaking out of places it normally wouldn't see fluid.
You're not really going to damage it, but you are going to cause leaks if you left it, overfull over time. But, I mean, I had a car in my shop where my technician came in and he said, this Jeep has a low fluid symptom, but I look at it, it's totally full. It's right on the money. And I drove it. And so I drove it, and it definitely had a low fluid symptom. I pulled the dipstick out, and it was definitely full, but it said right on the side of the dipstick, fill only with ATF plus 4. This was a 98 Cherokee, and ATF plus 4 wasn't invented until 2000, so I knew it had the wrong dipstick in it.
Oh, well, good catch, Dave. Well, the other thing, too, is my Toyota pickup. You have to check the transmission fluid at a certain temperature. It isn't just go pull the dipstick out and check it after you've been driving for 4 hours either. I don't know the exact number. I don't remember, but on my truck, it wanted to check the transmission fluid at 127 degrees or something like that. If you're checking it at 160, it could give you a false reading. It's not the same thing. So very specific.
I'm really holding back from telling on Matt because he brought a car over to my shop the other day for a transmission problem. We checked the fluid and it was low. And I'm like, Matt, the fluid's low on this thing.
That was the one that was leaking. We already put 4 quarts in it before we brought it to you. And it leaked a quart out before it got there.
Mr. ASE Master
So
Technician.
don't try parking the bus on top of me. Chad, we don't know where Chad's from, but he's got a 2007 Jeep Cherokee. Hopefully he doesn't have a transmission problem. Chad, what's up?
Hi, guys. No, I don't have a transmission problem.
Thank God.
I have one of the very few Grand Cherokees that has a 3-liter turbo diesel engine in it.
Did you import it from Italy?
I've never seen one of those.
Wow.
Back when Mercedes owned Chrysler, they put a few of these into Grand Cherokees.
I remember some Liberties like that.
Now, the Liberty had the little 4-banger Cummins engine, and this is a 3-liter V6 Mercedes.
Okay.
I'm at 72,000 miles, and I'm starting to get some oil seepage right at the back. It looks like main oil seal. Dealer says $100 for a diagnosis, which I think is fair, and they estimated $1,100 to repair that. What my question is does that sound like a fair price to repair a leaking main seal? And if it is, what else can I do at this time? Because I'm planning on keeping this thing. My last Cherokee I drove to like 175,000. So I'm looking at another 100,000 I want to get out of it. What else do I replace now if I'm going to have this main seal?
Well, the question is really two parts. So is that a fair and reasonable price? The only way you're going to get to the rear main seal is to pull the transmission out of the vehicle or to remove the engine from the vehicle because it's directly between the two. So that is reasonable price-wise to do that. Is there other stuff you should be doing? Well, the thing that would make me nervous at transmission shop, a lot of general repair shops say, hey, this car needs a rear main seal, but we got to pull the tranny. We don't like pulling trannies, so can you guys do it? And we say, yeah, sure we can. The one thing we like to do is to go ahead and replace the front seal in the transmission, because the last thing we want to do is put that transmission back in, after we've done the rear main seal and have a leak. So the transmission should be resealed externally at that point, change the fluid and filter while you're there. It's a nice, clean job. You're only talking about, maybe an extra $100.
Right. Well, if you're up against a hard budget, it doesn't necessarily should be done. But in his case, we're talking proactive auto repair. Mm-hmm. We're going to take advantage of having this transmission on the bench. And you said front seal, Dave, but why is that? Because when you're pull that out, you may remove the torque converter, and just there's always a chance that seal tears.
It's pretty common that it happens. For people especially that don't pull transmissions on a regular basis, they cock the torque converter. If the crankshaft on the engine, the pilot on the torque converter, and the hub on the torque converter aren't all in perfect alignment, the seal will definitely leak. So we kind of just disrupted the seal a little bit. Now we fixed our oil seal leak, and now 10,000 miles later we got a transmission leak.
Now, and I start to think of other things, and I can't think of an exact example on this particular Jeep, but now when you're standing underneath that thing with the transmission out and the back of the engine exposed, we might see some funky heater core hose that's really a bear to get to.
Freeze plugs?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm
looking at freeze plugs, and I'm also looking at motor mounts because when the transmit, he's shaking his head like he doesn't know what I'm talking about. I do this.
No, I shake my head like I know what I'm talking about, and you don't.
I pull transmissions every day. Matt does every so often. But
that's all you do, Dave. See, that's the problem. We do it all. But I wouldn't be looking at freeze plugs unless if the cooling system's really nasty and the car hasn't been maintained. But if they're seeping, or you've seen the one behind the starter's already been replaced, or one of the other ones, now's the time.
Yeah. So all that stuff should be checked out. When we come back, we've got some more phone calls, and we've got the email of the week. You're listening to Bumper Radio.
My pappy said, son, you're going to drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that hot rod Lincoln.
Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, and next to me is Matt. He's a little bit hot today because I've been picking on him. He said, you've been driving the bus over me. He said, you just better watch out there, buddy. So we'll see what he's got to offer.
I got your number, Dave. I got your number.
We've got Carmela, Gary, Robert, Ray, and Sergio. If we don't get to your call during the show, we will take your call after the show. So hang tight. Don't go away. We appreciate all the phone calls. And we got some more text to get to. This one's right on topic, so I'm going to mention it. 2005 Camry with 170,000 miles, quoted $1,200 to do mounts. Can I do two at a time? And I think that's a great question. Totally. I kind of treat them like tires. You buy tires at least two at a time.
So you're the onesie guy, Dave, huh?
Unless you're unless you've got an all-wheel drive on tires. But on the mounts, I usually like to replace the opposing mount. So if I'm looking at the mount underneath the radiator, well, I know the mount back on the firewall has been, because the front one might be broken.
The one by the radiator is getting pulled on. The one by the radiator is getting pushed on.
Correct. So if one of them's broken, the other one's being abused. So I'll do them in pairs. There's one at the transmission, and there's one in the passenger fender, at the front and back. One's at the transmission, the front of the engine. So I would do them as pairs. The dog bone mount, which is up top that you mentioned, that one's pretty easy to change and pretty inexpensive. And I don't think your $1,200 is coming from that one.
No, not at all. And $1,200 is an appropriate price. On engine mounts, I always want to use the factory mount, the original equipment mount. There is not a good aftermarket mount, in my opinion. And this is a perfect conversation to have with your shop. Hey, I just don't want to stomach $1,200 right now. What makes sense? How do we split this up? And that should be a very easy conversation.
Well, up for segment, we're going to go with Carmela in Peoria on a 97 Chevrolet Cavalier. Go ahead, Carmela.
Hey, I got a 97 Cavalier, and this car will not cold start. Will not cold start. It'll start, and it'll die. But later on in the day when it warms up, you can turn it over. And we've done everything we can think of, fuel pump, mass air sensor, and they think it has something to do with the theft system. It's not disengaging.
What's odd is it's just cold, so you go get the car started and go drive it for half hour, go run some errands, park it for a little bit. Does it start okay then?
Usually then, yeah. It's just in the morning when you first want to start it, it turns over, but it just dies, like it's getting no gas.
And is the theft light flashing?
Well, yeah, it has been on.
Okay.
We can't seem to get it off.
Well, yeah, you probably what we're looking at there is maybe a key and tumbler. The GM calls that a pass key. So your key probably has a little chip in it. When you put that in the ignition, it reads that chip to allow the information to go through the computer and power up the fuel pump or power up the ignition system, whatever it may be. So ignition switch possibly, key and tumbler, or even the pass key module. But that's...
Before she said the theft thing, I was thinking temperature sensor on the engine.
Yeah, and I think I was thinking earlier, the late 80s or 90s.
Mr. ASE Big Boy Pants, No, I'm thinking temperature sensor. I'm thinking the computer still thinks the engine's hotter than it is, so it's not giving enough gas. So when it's cold like that, you're really going to be choking off a little bit of the air and feeding it more fuel. And if she said mass airflow sensor, she said a bunch of other stuff, but I never heard temperature sensor.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, I got to go to the email of the week because I promised you. It is from Sharon, and she was talking about brakes over the years have gotten... Oh, that's my response. I don't want to read that. I want to read her question. She's got a 2012 VW Tiguan. Tiguan. I've taken to the dealer twice because of squealing brakes whenever I slow down. The dealer tells me that foreign brakes are made differently and safer than U.S. brakes, and will always squeal to greater or lesser extents. Have you ever got advice like this from the dealer?
Did that guy try and sell you a piece of a bridge or some swampland in Florida or something? Give me a break.
Is that accurate? I find it hard to imagine that owners of foreign high-end cars like Mercedes do and must tolerate squealing brakes. So, I guess we can make that a fact or fiction.
We've already blew that one.
German car brakes should squeal much more than American car brakes. Fact or fiction?
Big old fat fiction there, Davey.
Well,
my response to the guy is, okay, that's normal. Since we're at a Volkswagen dealer, I'm going to beg to say that we probably have some more Tiguans on the lot. So what do you say? You and me randomly go grab 3 or 4 of them. Let's go for a ride. And if they all squeak, then I'll buy your line.
That's pretty good.
And if not, then we're not.
That's pretty good for a book smart tech.
Slap that beard right off.
Brakes have gotten so much better over the years, but they're not perfect, and they go through a lot of different conditions. Matt was saying before the show, I thought it was a good point. You should say that during the air. Because they're hot and they're cold, and you get them all dusty, and when they get dusty, they make a little noise. But most of the time, I drive 30 cars a week, and most of the time, I don't hear squeaking. Doesn't matter if it's Asian. Doesn't matter if it's German. Doesn't matter if it's U.S. For the most part, I don't hear squeaky brakes anymore. Every now and then, I get a little peep out of them, but it's just not very common. In the old days, it was like regular business.
If you can set your watch by it, or it's going to do it every time, there's an issue there. If it does it when it backs out of the garage, no big deal. Does it on your first stop or two, no big deal. Brakes like heat. In some cases, the hotter they are, the better they work. And they're just going to make some noise when they're cold.
So if you're looking for a Tiguan, apparently according to the dealership, you just got to be prepared for squeaky brakes.
We better get Robert. He's been on hold a long time, Dave.
Go ahead, Robert. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. Go for it, Robert. What do you got?
Quick question for you. I got an 07 Camry. Just picked it up. It's got 35,000 miles on it, so not many miles. My question is it a mileage thing or a time thing when I got to start looking at, replacing things, changing the oil? I got to, do I use just a regular oil, or do I look at a synthetic oil? what are some of the things I need to maybe worry about it, because it is a 7-year-old car, but it only has 35,000 miles on it.
How was that car stored? Where was it kept? What's the history of the car? Is that one of those Sun City beauties?
Yeah, actually it was. I've got all the paperwork showing the oil was changed every 5,000 miles. All the service was done on it, and it had been garage kept because the car looks like it just came off the showroom floor.
Okay. Well, you might have to follow us up with an email at bumpertobumperradio.com on this one. But, Dave, we got some time to talk about it. Coolant would be the first thing that's going to go bad with age. Otherwise, I'd get some miles on it, get it into a shop, just say, look at everything. Tell me about everything you can tell me about this car.
The thing about those Sun City Queen cars, I mean, they never get driven. They kind of rot from the inside out. So this one actually is not that old, but I see some that come in that are 10 years old, and, you know, they've barely been driven, but coolant is the biggest thing that I see corrode. So thanks so much for joining us. If you're looking for a great shop to start a relationship with, you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. You can also find the contact link where you can email Matt and I any of your questions, and we're fairly timely getting back.
Hey, and check out, we've got a bright new shiny website. Let us know what you think.
Give us your feedback. Thanks, Peter, for running the dials. Remember never to text in drive. Matt and Dave, Bumper to Bumper Radio.